something really interesting is happening on mobile phones. They're not mirroring desktops or laptop PCs.
Can the iPad Pro finally replace your laptop?
Can an iPad Pro running iPad OS finally replace your laptop?
Whether an iPad Pro with Apple Pencil can really replace a MacBook Pro.
Can an iPad actually replace your laptop?
What's a computer?
For years, we have been trending towards a mobile future. Laptops, tablets, smartphones, watches, and more have transformed the way that we view and live in the world. But with each new release, the lines are becoming more and more blurred as to what each device can do. 5 years ago, everything was far simpler. Smartphones were for everybody, tablets were for at-home content consumption, and laptops were mainly for professionals on the go. But now iPads are more powerful than high-end desktops and cheaper than iPhones, and can handle a majority of most people's workloads. At this point, I think it's time to switch. When the iPad was first released, it was essentially one thing, a bigger iPhone.
A lot like a giant iPhone.
Many are quick to liken the iPad to a large iPod Touch.
Look like a big iPod Touch or a big iPhone. The iPad is designed like a giant iPhone.
9 years later, this couldn't be further from the truth. With years and years of trial and error, Apple has finally developed an operating system that makes the iPad more than just a bigger iPhone. It makes the iPad a computer, which begins to sort of make their Mac lineup useless, I would say. Why buy a MacBook to take notes when you could purchase an iPad with a keyboard for $488 US? And in some cases, this iPad will be more powerful and it might have better battery life. It can handle your video streaming, it can take notes, it can be a touch interface, it can be more than what most people use a MacBook for. It's 2019 and I'm calling it the year of the iPad. With iPad OS, the year of the iPad is upon us. They're not releasing a bunch of new iPads. It's not because of new iPads, but it's because of the software that's running on iPads. This year and the last year and the year before that and the year before that, we've really seen that the most important thing is software. It's not how many cameras you have. It's not how small your bezels are, because there are Chinese phones that are cheaper and better in most cases than a lot of American-made phones like the iPhone or like Samsung's offerings. But what we're seeing is that software is everything. And this might be shocking to say as somebody who's a big MacBook fan, but if anybody is looking to buy a good, cheap MacBook, your best bet is to go with an iPad. The reason being is that iPads are more powerful than most MacBooks, at least MacBooks from 2017 and before, the iPad Pro 11-inch and iPad Pro 12.9-inch. Both of those are actually more powerful than any quad-core i7 that Apple ever threw into a computer, and it's even more powerful than some of the 13-inch MacBook Pros from 2018 and 2019. So for the price that you can purchase one of the new iPad Pros for, you can't really beat it. It's an awesome computer, it's an awesome machine, but there are some limitations for sure.
Is that this device actually can't replace your computer.
On a technical level, it's not a like-for-like replacement for a personal computer.
The iPad Pro, an official laptop replacement, man. No, no, no.
The iPad's touch interface has long been viewed as the thing that has held it back. It makes using apps and maybe even using the device slow. Touching the screen with a thick finger is not nearly as accurate as controlling it with a mouse. And while I understand you can connect a mouse now on iPadOS 13, it's not nearly as convenient as having a built-in trackpad. And the pencil for the iPad is far too expensive for any old stylus. Obviously, these are all constructive and good criticisms to have because a lot of them are true. But I'm here to say that most people doing basic, everyday, student-like tasks, whether that be watching Netflix, checking emails, responding to emails, editing the basic video, editing photos, taking videos, it can all be done on an iPad. Obviously, high-end production companies aren't going to be using iPads and they're not going to be replacing MacBook Pros for everybody. But for 90% of users, something that costs $60, 50% of a new MacBook Pro. That gives you 90% of the features and the usability, and in some cases gives you extra usability like LTE connection. It really makes it an enticing offering, and I think that it's something that a lot of people should check out. Obviously, no, you can't code on this. It's a locked down system. You're not going to be able to run Linux on it. That's not what it is. But what an iPad Pro does offer is everything that most people need. And I thought it was interesting that my fiance's friend the other day asked me what computer she should buy because she wants a new laptop. And I just said, get an iPad. It's way cheaper and it'll do everything you want it to do because all she needs to do is check emails, go on the internet, and watch Netflix. An iPad does all those things for way cheaper, and it's far more portable, and it fits in nicely into the Apple ecosystem. But the iPad is one of the Apple devices that stands on its own. You don't need the other computers or the other devices to make the iPad as good as it is. As long as you have an iPad, you can have an Android phone and a Windows desktop, and the iPad will hold its own. Whether you're on a plane, whether you're at home, it's still a great device for everybody that needs a basic device like the iPad. The iPad's killed Chromebooks, they've killed low-end Windows computers. I think that the iPad is one of Apple's best inventions, if not the best invention that's come out in the last couple of years. I know it's older than that, but the iPad really became an iPad in the last couple of years with iOS 11, iOS 12, and now iPad OS 1. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, hit subscribe, hit that like button, hit that comment button, hit some characters on your keyboard or on your screen. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Peace out.